Hi everyone, this is Dan, and this is Judge Dredd, The Cursed Earth. So getting back to Judge Dredd, haven't done any 2000 AD stuff in a while, kind of missing it a little bit. One of the things that kind of makes Dredd kind of interesting, especially now that I've been reading it some more, is that the later stories are very long. So Cursed Earth is actually, I believe, 25 programs. Anyhow, there's something I need to mention here. The particular book that I have is the technically censored one by, I think, Rebel Communications or Media or something like that, or Rebellion Media. I don't know, but anyhow, if you're looking at the screen right here, this is kind of the explanation by Keith Richardson's the editor. Essentially, part 11 through 12 and 17 through 18 have been removed from this collection, and essentially it was for copyright reasons. I've kind of like searched around the internet and found them. They're basically parodies of American fast food chains. And it's kind of the story around that. And they're not really, honestly, that real important to the Cursed Earth story. But it's one of those things where unfortunately it did work out. Anyhow, getting to the Cursed Earth, this is not the, I would say, first epic, but definitely the most memorable early epic of Judge Dredd. 25 programs long, very, very cool. The basic background of the Cursed Earth is that we get introduced to the other megacity, Megacity 2, and they're dealing with a plague called Tutti Frutti. And while dealing with this plague, they find out that the city, there's no way to fly in vaccine to the city, so they have to travel across America through what is called the Cursed Earth, which is essentially basically all of Middle America. Megacity 1 is basically all of the East Coast, and Megacity 2 is all of the West Coast. So Judge Dredd gathers a ragtag group of robots and judges and a former criminal called Spikes, and they travel across the USA fighting people. The first major story is them visiting the town of Deliverance and fighting a bunch of rats. It's okay. The second story is actually more interesting. They go to Mount Rushmore, which has been kind of modified, being in the middle of the country and the Cursed Earth. Which I find interesting about this is the error by the British writers. Mount Rushmore is claimed to be in the Appalachian Mountains, which is not true. Mount Rushmore is in South Dakota, guys. The later stories get very, very good. You later move to a story regarding vampires. And at first, it kind of seems like a weird, android vampires. But then you get some great background on the Judge Dredd universe and the introduction of the last president of the United States, President Booth. Very cool story. You get also the introduction of the character Tweak for this particular arc of Judge Dredd. And Judge Dredd's fight with the Slay Riders, basically slavers that have enslaved aliens to do all kinds of manual labor and terrible work. But the best story, in my opinion, in this entire run is Satanus. That is by far the coolest story. What makes it really cool, at least for me, is this run of Judge Dredd was published in, I believe, I don't know, I'm looking at research right now. I'm hoping the internet is right. I think it's 1978 through 1980 or something like that. So this entire run came a full 3 years before Michael Crichton wrote his initial early screenplay for Jurassic Park. And basically a full decade before Jurassic Park, the book itself, came out. So really, really good props to the writers here, Pat Mills, and I think a few others helped write some programs in this run. Very innovative. And honestly, the Satanus story is really cool and kind of a unique twist on dinosaurs, for certain. So after that, Dredd has like a sort of adventure in Las Vegas, which is very interesting. Vegas is in the middle of the Cursed Earth, but it's a working city. And then you get background on Tweak, the alien that he befriends on this very tragic story in this run. And then finally you get the last conflict, which is Judge Dredd running away from the Legion of the Damned. With some funny parodies on American generals. One thing I noticed about Judge Dredd in general is it's a lot of parodying and making fun of Americans, and I guess American culture, and to a little lesser degree, I guess the the DC and Marvel comics of the era, right? And it's for me, reading it can be sort of funny and interesting. At times, though, the parodies do get kind of old. And after a while, I kind of get to this point where, like, is Judge Dredd just like a continuous parody of, American culture? But eventually, it starts to get his own wings underneath it. And especially the Cursed Earth, you start to get more of, Judge Dredd is kind of the same character no matter what. But you get more of a fleshed out feel for the character. Rather than just being just a straight parody constantly, there is a more human aspect to him that makes this entire run very, very fascinating. This run also leads into the next epic for Judge Dredd, arguably a more popular one, which is The Day the Law Died. Very, very good. All in all, really enjoyed reading it. Obviously, I'm missing some stuff, but I was able to find it on the internet and enjoy those programs as well. I don't think we're really missing anything story-wise, though it would be cooler if it was allowed in this collection. I can understand, though, for legal copyright reasons why it wasn't allowed. Anyway, going to the art, this is my piece right here. So essentially, I loved the entire Satanis section of the Cursed Earth. It's easily, the most innovative, especially if you consider the time that it came out. And very, very cool. It's kind of interesting. Satanis kind of looks a little Godzilla-like in the book. So my interpretation of him, I made him more raptor-like. Especially wanted to put more emphasis on the eyes. I think I went a little too crazy with the brush pen here, but that's okay. Kind of wanted to get a cool action and perspective shot with a couple close-up panels on the left and right. Didn't decide to color this since 2000 AD wasn't colored. And also didn't put lettering in here. I mean, it's just me having fun. I don't think I would be allowed to make a Judge Dredd comic. Anyhow, that's the video, everyone. Let me know what you think. If you liked it, please hit the thumbs up. Subscribe. If you haven't subscribed, hit the bell for notifications. You have any comments about Judge Dredd, The Cursed Earth, this video, or my art piece, leave it down below. And I will see you next time.